Trump voters are getting exactly what they voted for.
I've supported Mr. Trump in every election that he's been a part of.
And because of that, they're losing everything.
Federal agents have been sweeping up workers at construction sites in South Texas.
ICE has raided us anywhere between 10 to 15 times.
Now, work sites across the Rio Grande Valley have ground to a halt.
And we know how bad this economy is for just about everybody. But the craziest thing is, unless they're rich, Donald Trump supporters are suffering just as much as everybody else, especially business owners.
Almost everything that could go wrong for Arkansas farmers did go wrong this year. And it's so bad that many are facing bankruptcy or even the closure of farms that have been passed down for generations.
Horrible year last year where most farmers in Arkansas Delta lost money. This year's going to be worse.
And it makes you wonder, if they knew there was a chance that they could get hurt by Donald Trump's policies, why would they vote for him? The simple reason is they thought Trump would go after everybody else. And his policies, whether that's immigration or economic, would hurt everybody but them. Now suddenly the same MAGA people that supported Donald Trump are complaining about tariffs, trade deals, labor shortages, immigration policies, and now how bad the economy has been hurt by the business genius that they believed in and voted for.
We are seeing a reduction of almost 60% of our volume on the residential side of our business. We applied for bankruptcy in December.
We saw.
But I'm Jew. Welcome to the channel. Please like and share the video. Don't forget to sub. Now, let's get into it.
I did vote for Mr. Trump. Deporting the criminals is a great policy. These foundations are poured, ready to go, and we can't even start the construction on them. But we voted for the American dream, and unfortunately, right now, we're not seeing that.
Latinos for Trump will never not be wild to me. 54% of Latino male voters voted for Donald Trump, which really, no matter how you look at it, was them voting against their own self-interest. For me, if there was even a chance that my people would be targeted, harassed, brutalized, arrested, disappeared, separated from families, deported by one specific candidate, then I would not vote for that candidate. But it really seems like they bought into the hype that everyone else will be impacted but them. I don't understand. When Trump said mass deportations on day one, did Latinos think there was some big population of violent immigrants that will be targeted and law-abiding immigrants that just want to go to work and provide for their families will go untouched? It seems like that's exactly what they thought. Somehow, for some reason, in a state like Texas. I didn't like paying $7 for eggs, said Negron, a Pennsylvania state constable in the majority Latino city of Allentown. Look at us now. Insane gas and grocery prices. Nobody can afford a house. Mass layoffs, the highest unemployment rate since the Great Recession. Starting wars in the Middle East for absolutely no reason. And we are seeing a level of corruption with this administration and the billionaire oligarchs circling around it that the U.S. has never seen before.
For months, federal agents have been sweeping up workers at construction sites in South Texas.
ICE has raided us anywhere between 10 to 15 times throughout different subdivisions.
Now, work sites across the Rio Grande Valley have ground to a halt. And that's got some Trump supporters in this midterm battleground changing their minds.
These people would just show up to our job sites with no warrants, taking all our workers, even the workers with proper documentation.
What did you think ICE would do? He is a Latino man with a Latino labor force, but for some reason, he believed that Trump was the best option for him, his business, his city, his state. And we saw how he treated non-white immigrants the first term. Build the wall, the Muslim ban.
Many who work in the construction industry here told us they largely rely on immigrant workers, some of whom are undocumented. DHS did not respond to the Times request for comment, but in a previous statement, it said these raids protect the nation's workforce.
I've supported Mr. Trump in every election that he's been a part of. We just never thought that this would come and affect us in the construction industry, but most importantly, affect our economy here in South Texas.
In South Texas, I want to slap every single person that says they voted for Trump 3 times. If you voted for Trump this last election, you're dumb just because of that. You thought he was a better candidate than an overqualified woman of color.
We are seeing a reduction of almost 60% of our volume on the residential side of our business. We applied for bankruptcy in December.
We saw a drop in sales of about $5.3 million. For 40 years, we had never laid anybody off, and until this happened, we were forced to.
And beyond construction, local businesses say fear is keeping shoppers at home.
And there's been a lot of loss of sales because of that. It killed us this year.
Construction is one of the main pillars to the economy here. Everybody's hurting.
In the Rio Grande Valley, 2 of President Trump's top priorities, the economy and mass deportation, are colliding as ICE raids upend the construction industry. And at a parade along the U.S.-Mexico border, Democrats are trying to capitalize on voters' frustration.
The economic implications are huge. People who voted for Trump are no longer doing it because they can't afford to do it anymore.
Republicans always come into power and break things. Democrats then have to come in and fix things. And then Republicans get voted in again, inheriting a good economy from Democrats and break it again.
The Rio Grande Valley, where more than 80% of the population is Latino, reliably voted for Democrats. Then in 2024, voters here swung further toward President Trump than almost anywhere else in the country.
You know, I think Democrats stopped showing up here. They took this community for granted, and so when Republican politicians showed up and made big promises, people took a chance. A year later, we're seeing those promises weren't kept.
So we were gonna build 196 apartments here in a year, but because of all the ICE raids and all the enforcements that we've been seeing, it's gonna take us 3 years now to go ahead and finish this development.
County property records show these slowdowns have spread throughout the industry as banks that lend to home builders report fewer transactions.
We were seeing certain banks that did that kind of lending suddenly have much slower activity. Those numbers were declining about 30 to 40%. We weren't sure why exactly, and I started asking some of these lenders, what is going on? We found out that they were struggling to keep their people on the jobs because of ICE.
In February, Mario requested a meeting with ICE through his congressional representatives. He went to Washington, D.C. with a few other builders and pleaded with them to ease up on job sites in South Texas.
They basically told us
all of a sudden the immigration policy that he voted for was affecting his business, so he doesn't believe in it anymore. People voting against themselves in their own communities, I will never understand it, ever.
us that if a construction site is not fenced in, it's considered public property, and that's why they don't have to show a warrant. So we started fencing in all our properties.
He said that after the meeting, ICE activity at job sites did decline, but the damage had already been done.
I hope they realize that this is really, really affecting us, and it's affecting the way that we feel towards the administration.
And it's the exact same thing with the farmers that voted for Trump that were going broke as early as September. And the shocking revelation, over 30% of Arkansas farmers who voted overwhelmingly for Trump are forecasted to go bankrupt by next year because of Trump's disastrous tariffs unless given emergency funds.
Almost everything that could go wrong for Arkansas farmers did go wrong this year. And it's so bad that many are facing bankruptcy or even the closure of farms that have been passed down for generations. A dismal global market and plunging commodity prices mean there's little to no hope of breaking even for many farmers, even as sky-high input costs rise because of inflation and now tariffs. Not to mention bad weather earlier in the year.
This time last year, the rice price was about 40% higher than it is now. The inputs costs have gone up, so after a horrible year last year where most farmers in Arkansas Delta lost money, this year's going to be worse.
Though President Trump's big beautiful bill provided a much-needed update to safety net subsidies for farmers, they won't see those federal dollars until late next year, by which time some have projected that as many as 1/4 or even 1/3 of Arkansas farmers will face bankruptcy or be forced to leave the business amid the crisis the American ag economy is currently in. It's already taken its toll this year.
I'm a sixth-generation farmer from Newport, and we made a decision to go out this year in the spring. So my son will not be the seventh-generation on our farm.
5 of my customers have committed suicide. That's how serious that this is.
Today, Arkansas farmers gathered to share their struggles with staffers from the state's congressional delegation.
You want to know the craziest thing with all of this going on, with everything we see with these farmers suffering, with them going broke, but dealing with bankruptcy and all of that? The exact same thing happened Trump's first term when he was going through the trade war with China, and farmers lost billions and had to file bankruptcy, and then ended up getting a bailout of $23 billion. And guess what? They voted for Trump again. The farmers that keep voting against their self-interest, shooting themselves in the foot, and not giving a fuck about the rest of us, received another bailout of $12 billion. And guess what? They would definitely vote for Trump or Vance again. They voted for Trump, and now they're dealing with the consequences of their actions. All of us are dealing with the consequences of their actions. This is what happens when people believe lies, misinformation, and propaganda. Latinos in Texas are sadly learning the hard way, and honestly, I don't feel sorry for them. Me either. Oh, and we're not done because the fishermen wanted some too. Florida MAGA fisherman lays into Trump over Iran war.
I'm really scratching my head because I voted Republican, and most of us in the fishing industry did, and we're not seeing the the positives come out of it. We've talked about no new wars, and here we are in a new war. I'd just like to see something in the middle with common sense.
Florida fishermen hit with higher oil and gas prices. People like him voted for maintaining white supremacy, xenophobia, and punishing transgender people. He willfully ignored Trump promising Project 2025 stuff that would negatively affect him. Fuck off with your "I thought this wouldn't affect me" bullshit. He told you he was going to mass deport and you cheered. Facts! Which I just don't understand, not even a little bit, when you have all Latino labor and they knew that some of them were illegal. But you still voted for Trump, who bragged about mass deportation. You're a Latino in construction and thought mass deportations of Latinos wouldn't affect your business. I mean, yeah, it's really hard to make sense of that. It really, really is. How in the world, when mass deportations were promised and put into effect, did you not think it would affect your all-Latino business? At this point, people are really getting exactly what they voted for, and it's hard to feel sorry for them because we're all going through the hell that they voted for. I don't know what math or calculations these MAGA business owners were doing, especially in a field like construction when the majority of laborers are Latino, or even the farms when we know Trump is a chaotic president and has no coherent plan for policy or trade. How did they think any of this would be good for them or would benefit them in some way, especially when we already saw this entire story play out in Trump's first term? But shout out to my channel members. Thank you so much for supporting, and thanks for watching. Y'all let me know what you think about all this in the comments. Also, make sure you check out the next video, and don't forget to follow me on Instagram for behind the scenes and life stuff, and I'll catch you next time. Peace.